Good morning, students. We were doing the chapter from the beginning of time, in which we discuss about the story of human evolution, and now we will read about the life of the modern man. And the topic here is early humans' way of obtaining the food. So if we talk about the evidences, as you can see, the skeletal remains. Okay, so these are being used to reconstruct the histories and their movements, okay, of people across the continents. As the species of these skeletal, okay, if they found in different places at a particular time, so it shows that maybe they have moved from one place to another, or they have settled down to another places. So here you can see the movement. It shows the movement of the people across the continents. So now we will see the routine aspects of the human life, way of obtaining the foods. Okay, so early humans would have obtained food through a numbers of ways, such as gathering, hunting, scavenging, and fishing. Students, gathering would involve collecting plant foods such as seeds, nuts, berries, fruits, and tubers. So that gathering, it was practiced, is generally assumed. Okay, so they assume that they used to practice gathering of the food, or they collecting the food, rather than conclusively established, as there is a very little, or you can say, direct evidence for it. While we get a fair amount of fossil bones, you can see here, fossilized plant remains are relatively rare. And the other way of getting information about plant intake would be if the plant remained, it was accidentally burned. So this process results in carbonization, that is the slow process of conversion of dead vegetation into coal. In this form, you can see organic matter, it is preserved for a long span of time. However, you will find so far these archaeologists, they have not found, okay, much evidence of carbonized seed for this very early period. Hunting. In recent years, the term hunting has been under discussions by the scholars. You can see it has been suggested that the early hominids, they scavenged or foraged, or you can see, for meat and marrow. So they search for foods like meat and marrows from the dead body or carcasses of animals that had died naturally, or it has been killed by the predators or by the other predators. So it is being equally possible that the small mammals such as these rodents, the birds and their eggs, reptiles, and even insects such as termites, okay, they were eaten by the hominids. So here you can see hominids ate small mammals. So hunting, if we talk about hunting, it probably begins later, about 5 lakhs years ago. The earliest clear evidences for the deliberate or the plant hunting and butchery, here you can see, of large mammals come from the two sites. So here name of the two sites has been given. One is the Boxgrove in southern England. Another one is the Schöningen in Germany. Okay. So these are the two sites where you can find that hunting was done by proper planning. Okay. Fishing was also important, as is evident from the discovery of fish bones at different sites. Student, this is the map of Europe, where we will read about the important sites where you can see hunting that took place in a planned manner. Okay, hunting of a large mammal, as we did in the previous slide, that we read about two important sites where we can find the evidences of hunting the large mammals, as Boxgrove, and another one is the Schöningen. Okay, here. So here you will see from about 35 years ago, there is evidence of a plant hunting from some European sites. some site you will find here, that is Dolny Vestonais. Okay, so here it is in Czech Republic. The site we call Dolny Vestonais, that is in the Czech Republic. Okay, so which was near a river, seem to have been purposely chosen by the people. Okay, early people. So here you will see herds of migratory animals such as the reindeer and horse. Okay, they probably cross the river during their autumn and spring migration and were killed on a large scale. So the choice of such sites is indicating that people knew that the movement of these animals, okay, and also about the mean of killing the large numbers of animal quickly. So that's why this site has been deliberately chosen by the people, as there was a river and the animal they used to migrate in the season of summer, and you can see in the autumn and in the spring. So did men and women have different role in gathering, scavenging, hunting and fishing, sorry. So we do not really know. Today we find society that live by hunting and gathering, where women and men they undertake a range of different activities, but as we will see later, that it was not always possible to suggest these things that happened in the past. Okay, so these things to be followed in the past. So now we talk about the early humans. Now they come from how they come from trees to caves and open air sites. Okay. So students, when we talk about the evidences here to know the pattern of residence, that where did they live or reside, you can see this. This is one way of doing this is plotting the distribution of artifact, from where did we find the artifacts or the objects here. So you will see that you can take an example of two places where you can find thousands of flake tools and hand axes that have been excavated at Quilombe, and then another one is the Ole Jesaile. Okay, Ole Jesaile. So here you will see these are the sites located in Kenya. These finds are dated between, when we talk about the time, they are dated between 7 lakh and 5,000 years ago. So how did these tools they accumulated in one place? So here comes a question that how did these tools they accumulated in one place? So it is possible that some places where food resources they were abundant were visited rapidly. So in such areas, people who tend to leave behind traces of their activities and presence, including the artifact. The deposit-state artifacts would appear as patches on the landscape. The places that were less frequent visited would have fewer artifacts, which may have been scattered over the surface. So it is important to remember that the same location could have been shared by the hominids, the other primates and carnivores. So student, here you can see evidence of cave between 4 lakh and 1 lakh 25,000 years ago. You can see the caves and the open site began to be used. So here we find the evidences from two of the places in France. One is in the Lazaret cave. Okay, as you can see the cave here, the Lazaret cave in southern France. Okay, a 12 into 4-meter shelter was built against the cave wall. Inside it, there were two herds and evidence of different sources: fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, birds, egg, and freshwater fish. And then another site was the Terra Amata below the, above the Lazaret caves. Okay, so when we see the structure, here you can see the shelter with roofs of wood and grasses were built for short-term seasonal visit. So this is you can see the last stone boulders, okay, they have kept was used to support the site of the herd. So pieces of baked clay and burnt bones along with the stone tools, okay, dated between 1.4 million years ago and 1 million years ago, they have been found at Cheso, Wanja, okay, Kenya, Swatkans, and in South Africa. So were these the result of a natural bushfire or volcanic eruptions? If we talk about, we got the pieces of baked lead and burnt these bones, and so, or were they produced through the deliberate controlled use of fire? So we don't know really, okay, we don't know really. So here you can see hearth on the other hand are the indication of the controlled use of fire. This had several advantages also. Fire, it provided warmth and light inside caves and could be used for cooking. Besides, fire was used to harden wood, as for instance you can see the tip of the spear. The use of heat also facilitated the flaking of the tools. As important, fire could be used to scare away dangerous animals. Early humans making the tools. The use of the tools and tools making are not confined to humans. Birds are known to make objects to assist them with feeding, hygiene and social encounters. And while foraging for food or searching for food, some chimpanzees they used to use tools that they have made. Students, there are some features of human tools making that are not known among the apes. So you will see that the power grip of human hand, it led to the skilled use of hand, probably due to the important roles of tools in human lives. And you will see in which human use and make tools often require greater memory and complex organizational skills, both of which are absent in apes. The earliest evidence for the making and use of these stone tools come from the site in Ethiopia and Kenya. It is likely that the earliest stone tools makers were the Australopithecus. As in the case of other activities, we do not know whether the tool making was done by men or women or both. It is possible that the stone tools makers they were both women and men. Women in particular may have had made and used the tool to obtain food for themselves as well as to sustain their children after feeding. About 35,000 years ago, improvement in the technique for killing animals are evident from the appearances of new kinds of tools such as a spear thrower and the bow and arrow. The meat thus obtained was probably processed by removing the bones, followed by drying, smoking, and storage. So food could not be stored for later consumption. Modes of communication, language, and art. So there are several views on language development. The first user of language was the hominid. The hominid language involved gestures or hand movement. Later, they developed another way of communication known as vocal but non-verbal communication such as singing or humming. Homo habilis may have possessed a small number of speech sounds in the initial stage. Gradually, these may have developed into language. It has been suggested that the brain of Homo habilis had certain features which would have made it possible for them to speak. So, the languages may have developed as early as 2 million years ago. The evolutions of the vocal tract was equally important. This occurred around 2 lakh years ago. It is more specifically associated with modern humans. Another suggestion is that language developed around the same time as art, that is, around 40,000 to 35,000 years ago. So the development of spoken language has been seen as closely connected with art since both are the media for communication. Cave paintings at Altamira. So Altamira is a cave site in Spain. So here you can see a painting on the ceiling of the caves was first brought to the attention of Marcelino Sanz de Sautuola, a local landowner and a professional archaeologist. By his daughter Maria in November 1879, the little girl, she was running about in the cave and playing about here and there, while her father was digging the floor on the cave. Suddenly she noticed the painting on the ceiling. Look, Papa, oxen. At first her father just laughed, but soon realized that some sort of paste rather than paint had been used for the painting and became so enthusiastic that he could hardly speak. He published a booklet the following year, but for almost 2 decades his findings were dismissed by the European archaeologists. So why did they dismiss? Because these paintings were too good that it that these painting cannot be belong to such ancient or to the old ages. That's why they dismiss the find of the archaeologist. So hundreds of paintings of animals which is done between 30,000 and 12,000 years ago. It has been discovered in the caves of Lascaux, Chauvet, both in France and Altamira in Spain. So these include depiction of bison, horses, ibex, deer, mammoth, rhino, lion, bears, panther, hyenas and owl. So several explanations have been offered. One is that because of the importance of hunting, the painting of animals it were associated with rituals and magics. The act of painting could have been a ritual to ensure a successful hunt, such as a big animal was hunted by an individual. Another explanation it offered is that these caves were probably meeting place for small group of people or the location for group activities. So the group here could share hunting techniques and knowledge, while painting and engraving served as the media for passing information from one generation to the next. So the above account of early societies has been based on these archaeological evidences. Clearly, there is much that we still do not know. Early encounters with hunter-gatherers in Africa. They encounter with African pastoral group, and here you can see initial contact in the year 1870 with the Kung San, a hunter and gatherer society living in the Kalahari Desert in Africa. So when we first came into this area, all we saw was strange footprints in the sand. We wondered what kind of people these were. They were very afraid of us, would hide whenever we came around. We found their villages, but they were always empty because as soon as they saw strangers coming, they would scatter and hide in the bush. So we said, oh, this is good. These people are afraid of us. They were weak and we can easily rule over them. So we just ruled them. There was no killing or fighting.